So I know where you started with the original question. I'm going to try to answer that. But, you know, here we are, a pool company of all things, living a life of, and
trying not to be a pool company at a lot of those moments.
Yeah, a lot of those moments we were just trying to be human beings. But the thing is we've embraced life and we've positioned ourselves to be invited to those things, to go and do those things, to take the time to go do them and participate. You got to be there.
Without expectation of any kind of outcome, just going and going the
Purely
first time.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the movie premiere?
The first thing was the charity event. Yeah.
Going to the charity event, I can only equate, or I did at the time, it was from Atlas Shrugged. It was like being Dagny and Hank, I think having dinner in a restaurant. There was a scene in the book that I referenced, that in going to this event, I wanted to be Dagny and Hank in that restaurant there, experiencing and just being
but
in
not
that
having
moment
to have an expectation of what was going to come. Yeah, and I think that's what's kind of lent to this continued kind of cool life, is that we never went there thinking that we're going to get something from it or expecting an outcome. Anything. No, it never was that at all.
Other than to kind of absorb.
Just to absorb the experience.
What it was, and have that be just moments.
Mm-hmm. It's just moments. Yeah.
They're awesome moments. When I think about them, like, my spirit inflates, and I can go back to that time because it was like expectation, anticipation, adrenaline was flowing, and like they were just experiences, and yet they were experiences that are bookmarked in my mind with an energy around the emotion that I was feeling at the time, and that's just awesome.
Yeah, and to me, they're experiences that very few people have. Not because they couldn't have, but because they don't put themselves in a position to be able to have them.
Absolutely.
That's the story. That's really the crux of this, is we intentionally figured out how to put ourselves in the way. Put ourselves in the position to be able to get invited or to whatever, or we were just who we were, that we were able to be invited. Without how can I harness this to better the return on investment, or whatever it was.
When did that start? That really started in us when we got an email from Seth Godin. We were invited to his private book launch party for Lynchpin. So we got that email, and I said we should go, and then if we're going to New York City, what's on the way? Wine Library, Gary Vaynerchuk. I wonder if he would be available to meet with us. So what do? I email him and I say, hey, we're coming into town to go to Seth Godin's Lynchpin. Would you have a few minutes that we could stop in and meet you? To which he said yes, and our few minutes turned into several hours.
We were there all afternoon.
So that was the beginning of any experience that you want to have, or something that
you
draws
just have
you
to position yourself to do it.
Say yes.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's probably a lot of people are too afraid, out of expectation or outcome or whatever, to just say yes. And by that experience taught us that anything was possible. Anything was going to be possible if a window opened a little bit. And because that window opened, and we spent hours at Wine Library, and he walked us. We got to remember meeting and hugging his dad, Sasha, and Gary's dad. Just his mom and dad were just gracious, amazing,
and we got to see.
We got all the behind the scenes, everything.
Huge operation, which wasn't. It doesn't take a lot of people to make a big impact or make a big company, because we got to see the inside scoop on all that.
Inside scoop of that, and then he has subsequently, or since then, built a media company that employs hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people. Yeah. And I know I've just recently, I think at the beginning of the book, he talks about having that book, offices in 4 different places around the world, something around the world. And yet that was, when we met him, was before he even launched that company, before VaynerMedia even existed.
It was when he was still doing Wine Library.
He was doing Wine Library, and we were there sitting in his office, and he had a baseball bat or a plank of wood. Remember, there was a plank of wood leaning up against the wall. Mm-hmm. And I think we even asked him about that. He goes, I don't even know why that's there. But in a lot of his, if you watch some of his early video work, that plank of wood was there.
And then there was the chalkboard where he wrote the messages, and while we were there, kind of in the middle of our visit, a camera team came and they did some kind of an interview for something.
Somebody
a
at
little
that
more
time,
local.
someone else,
That was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that, after we started to have some of these experiences, I caught a quote from Oprah Winfrey, who had been on my list of people. I was in a networking meeting one day, and I was asked, well, who would you like to meet? And when that circle went around, I didn't have an answer. So I think I stalled for time, or I didn't really give one. And then after that meeting, I thought about it, and I very much had decided that Gary Vaynerchuk and Seth Godin were on the list, and then we got to meet them. My answer may have been like Oprah or Ellen or something like that, which I do believe that has since changed. It might still be interesting to meet them, but I'm not so sure. Anyway, long story. I had heard a quote from Oprah that even with all the accolades and success that she had had, she still sometimes doubted whether she was supposed to be in the room. So, like with us going to these larger than life experiences, we had to choose to just go and experience. And I found it really interesting that someone even with what I would perceive as her level of celebrity would still feel exactly the same as the way we felt going into it.
It's no different.
Yet we were going to go and have the experience anyway. I found that really interesting.
Well, I think that the important lesson is when given an opportunity, take it.
Yeah.
You don't know the outcome, don't expect the outcome, don't expect that it's going to end up a certain way. We both went into a lot of this stuff with just open minds of it is what it is, and we're going to just enjoy the experience and try to capture it and mentally keep as much of it as we can in our brains.
Yeah.
But we didn't have, oh, well, I'm going to create a video to harness this to create something for me. That, there wasn't even a thought. It wasn't like, how can I use this meeting this person, get me a better position. That was never that. It was just about, let's just have this experience.
We took like this much video at the Rock the Casbah event, or maybe it's only photos, and then we did ask Gary V if we could, tape his answers, film on the flip. And I felt a little awkward even asking him. It would be so natural to me now.
If someone,
but at that time, it was still really early on.
Well, that was pretty early on in terms of this whole,
I do have those
social world.
They are on YouTube. I will likely link them.
There was some really good stuff there. But you had asked me in starting this, what question, and I want to ask you that same thing, what question you wish people asked more. We're not in a position where we get interviewed very often, which is okay. I really am a philosopher of life more than I am a pool person. And I think I would like to dwell there more. If we're in the pool environment and we're at a show and people are asking us questions, specifically in our industry, when we're at a show, we do get a lot of attention. So in that environment, I would like people to ask more about the philosophical part of life than the how-tos of building a business in life. I mean, that's because that's where I like to dwell. I like to dwell in that yummy, ushy-gushy, how can we each be better humans every single day kind of place. And there's not as much opportunity as I wish there was to have that conversation. I wish that our industry would embrace that more, that we could put on classes and seminars around that, the life fulfillment part, not just the nuts and bolts of making money part.
Which is why we find ourselves doing a lot of these videos and at the shows and around. I know a lot of people watch them and they enjoy it and they're taking notice of it. So.
Yeah, we've got plenty of attention, but I think as an industry, broad stroking the industry,
you know why we're not,
less likely.
We don't give interviews is because we don't play politics
we
or
don't play
bullshit.
Politics, no.
And
this is true.
There's a lot of opportunity to play in that
to
arena,
position ourselves to play there,
to be interviewed and
true.
that kind of thing, and we just it's not something that we want more of. Genuine interviews and the right people talking to us, absolutely, but in what a lot of people may first be drawn to, it just isn't quite the thing.
Well, I think that for me, at least, I really love helping people in that place of, yes, they can make money, but it's less about money and more about how they feel about the money. And it's playing in that space that matters so much, because that's where you can help motivate, inspire. Those are all words that are really cool to me. Is I would love to inspire. I love to motivate. I love help people discover themselves. I love to help dig into the psyche of the human brain and help people come up with an answer. I don't want to answer their stuff. I want to help them arrive at their own answer. And traditionally, we haven't had as much opportunity industry-wide to do that. But I hope moving forward that there'll be more. And the reason I know that it's possible is I was at a seminar once put on by one of the superstars of the industry.
I think I might have been there too.
And it was called the...
Or maybe it wasn't, if it was different.
Yeah, I don't think you were there.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking of a different one that was put on by a superstar of the industry. So
this was like the power of chi. Or something.
No,
remember that one?
I was
you weren't
not
there, but
I heard about it.
Yeah, and it was about chi being your inner energy and how to elevate your energy. And I thought, doggone, if we had more of that. Now this guy, cool guy, good enough, but he didn't bring the life philosophical part to it. He just brought this superficial story around life force. And that's somewhere that I think our industry, to help some of the people really moving forward, is to dig a little deeper into the psychology of people and help them lift that chi, lift that energy, lift that ability and that desire and that passion to move forward. And that just doesn't seem to show up at the conventions and at the shows and at the classes, because there's no way of calculating what's my return on investment for spending time there. And so they seem to always look at, is this a good class to be put on because there's an investment return or something.
Yeah, it should be like the required.
It should be the required
class.
That should be the base. That should be the base class. Amen.
That's repeated over and over and over again, so that every person that comes through there
goes to that one first, starting with that.
The window open to be a little bit better.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's why that class was really cool, because that's the only one in all of the years, and a whole lot of years that I've been around this thing, that's the only class ever that I ever saw in the booklet that had nothing to do with specific pool building or problem solving or whatever. This was all about how to position your life force to do something that you wanted to do.
Yeah.